Hello, everybody, and welcome to your post-daily news show. It is Thursday, April the 28th. Yes.
That is correct. Yes, it
these
is.
these days and these numbers, I mean, they pile on when you've got to recite it every day.
Is there a better system we could utilize?
No, it's pretty. I like the system. I've said this in the past. I like
Maybe a color?
New York's got it right. You know what I mean? Where it's like, where's 15th? Well, it's right before 16th and it's right after 14th. I like that.
Maybe, maybe like an emoji? We can use a different one every day.
What would Thursday be?
Okay. Thursday, I mean, maybe like the... Maybe
Garbage
like the,
day?
Maybe like the girl who does this, like that. One of these. It feels
Okay.
like a Thursday thing that
Okay.
somebody would do.
All right. You should really devise this system and give us an updated 7-day emoji calendar, and I will follow it. I will act out the emoji every day for folks out there if they want that.
I'll get to work on it.
I wonder if anyone would catch me if I just started screwing around with the date and see if anyone even noticed. Like, hey, it's Monday, December 25th. Here we are.
Or like, it's June 74th.
A lot of this, I assume, is just in one ear, out the other for people that are listening to us. But nonetheless, we have lots. Oh, look at that, Karen weighing in here on this special. What do you call this emoji? Does it have a name?
I have no idea. I don't even know what she's doing. Why has she got her hand like this?
Well, that's what you.
Why one hand? Two hands. I get it. It's like one of these.
Well, it's
but one
Thursday.
hand?
Maybe like Tuesday is the. Oh my God, I have so much to balance this week coming up. But Thursday, we're almost at the end.
You're half balanced. You only
Got one more day to
plate
go,
left.
and then it's
Got
the
it.
weekend. And then what's the weekend? I guess it depends on your life circumstances. It's either go out and party and hang out with friends, or not. What have we started? What have we started? Anyway, thank you to everybody that is weighing in on Hers Day.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Folks, we dropped Rewinded Dynamite on Wednesday night. If you want to go catch that, it is on the YouTube channel, and you can always download. We do podcasts, by the way. You can subscribe to Post Wrestling on all your podcast apps of choice. You can leave comments if you so desire. I never see them, but they're appreciated nonetheless.
You can just shout into the room and hope that somebody might hear it.
You
That's
could
just as
shout
good.
while you're out for your walk listening and just scream something.
About the podcast you're listening to. Yeah, that'd be great.
Did you see the? I just retweeted it. Somebody, you know what? I want to give this person some credit here. This Twitter user that put out. This is Promo Joe YT, who did what I suspected we would see today with side by side comparisons of the FTR spots in the match, a mixture of Brett and Owen from WrestleMania 10. Obviously, King of the Ring, a big influence with the Razor Ramon match and the Kurt Hennig finish with Brett in that one. You saw some Brett and Benoit in there too. This was a nice little side-by-side comparison just to see if you caught all the little tribute spots in Cash and Dax or Hair and Bald's match on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I've seen some of Promo Joe's work on YouTube. He does some fantastic work. He's really fast with it too. Like usually the day after a Dynamite, he does this almost every single week. Like catching little references throughout all the matches, and it was. I did not expect any less. With this Cash versus Dax match, which I am starting to. So okay, Daniel Shahori actually sent me a really nice email to help me distinguish between the two, to help me remember. Cash is the one who can afford hair.
Wouldn't shaving your head require more of like a cost? Like you could just grow your hair out forever and you're spending nothing. Whereas if you're bald, you got to maintain that if you're still producing hair. Sorry,
Okay.
did I ruin your system?
You've just totally screwed me up now. Well, you can argue that haircuts are more expensive than shaving your head, which I would assume. Like you do yours at home
That's
for
right.
free,
Yeah,
free
that's
of charge.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe you found an error in the system. I'm
Okay.
gonna
Well,
need
you
something
found
else.
it. You found it.
Doesn't work.
Maybe
anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with some kind of system for you, but I didn't realize that this was like a thing with Cash and Dax, that people were confused over them until this hair and bald thing. has
Dash and
emerged.
Dawson, I think, was tough enough. Like they couldn't have picked two closer names that start with the same letter for their tag team. they had a chance to redo it with FTR, and I mean it's a mild improvement. But the so okay, so Dash Wilder is now Cash Wheeler, but
Yes.
what was it?
Scott Dawson is now Dax Harwood. Yes.
Is Dax Harwood. Dawson. See, because like when I think of Dawson, I think of Dash. Like Dawson is bald, right?
Dawson is bald. Yes.
But like because I associate his name as Dawson, I think of oh, okay, whatever. It's okay.
The confusing identification of these two men. All right, let us move on. Not a very uplifting story to start with. On Wednesday evening, female wrestler Christina Von Eerie posted a very lengthy post on Facebook alleging physical, mental, and verbal abuse that she suffered during her relationship that ended quite a while ago with Chris Dickinson, including when the two lived together on Staten Island. We're not going to go through the entire statement here, but there is some graphic details here. So for those listening, she noted that when they had fights, that there was yelling, pushing. She was held down and tossed around. She said, it was impossible to get him off of me if he was holding me down. He was so much bigger than me. I felt so helpless sometimes and scared that things would get more violent, and they did. And she went into detail about one incident in November of 2014 where she said she had suspected of him texting with an ex-girlfriend, and she tried to take the phone from him, and she was slapped across the face, leading to her ear ringing, a busted open mouth, and spitting blood while left with a black eye, swollen lips, and a bruised portion of her mouth. She went on to talk about a lot of the mental anguish that she suffered after their breakup, going into a deep depression, having suicidal thoughts, and was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, going on antidepressants for 5 years. After this was posted, Chris Dickinson responded without naming her, but stating, I saw what was said about me by a former partner. I need to make it very clear I have never physically abused her or any other partner. These accusations are false, they are hurtful, and they go against everything I believe in. And Von Eerie has since stated that she would be willing to take a polygraph test regarding this and will provide a photo from this alleged physical attack in 2014. I have reached out to Game Changer Wrestling just regarding if this is going to impact Chris Dickinson's status. He is scheduled for their show on Saturday night against Biff Busick, but I have not heard a response as of yet. So we will see if there is anything taken by GCW for this weekend regarding these allegations, or what the next chapter is. I don't really know what more there is to add about that story other than both sides that have put out those respective statements.
Yeah, we just had a really big answer about this on Ask Away, but I don't think it gets any easier in trying to handle these situations whenever they come out. Nor do I think it gets easier even as a fan, knowing exactly what to feel and how to feel when it comes to something like this. Whenever these allegations are brought up, reading her post, I read it in its entirety. It is awful, and I feel terrible for her.
There's a lot in there. Like it's a very heavy read to go through all of the different details.
But again, I wish there was proper forms of ways to seek justice for the entire situation, and until we can bring this to a court or some sort of avenue where we can find out more information, or at least the appropriate parties involved can find out more information. I don't exactly know how to feel about completely making up my mind on one person and his career. Right now though, all we're really left with is her side and his side. I suppose he hasn't said a whole lot, obviously, compared to how much she's written, but did you find it notable that he specifically pointed out the physical abuse that he's denying? Much of what she's lining out in her post is not just physical abuse.
No, I mean, he he limited it to, and this was just a Twitter post. I don't know what you can read into that. I think it's very dangerous to speculate in these situations where you are essentially, there are two people that and I mean, unless they, the friends and such that maybe were aware of what was happening or not happening, you're kind of left with this. And I think it's really dangerous to speculate. And but yeah, that was the part he specifically denied was the physical abuse that is alleged. And in this kind of thing, I think you, as someone that is watching, is looking for some kind of process for this to go through. And a lot of the time, like, this is the extent of the process, is that you see an allegation, there may be a denial, there may be silence from it, and then that's typically where we see the extent of it, unless like a company takes action. But that is kind of like, you don't have that real structure in place to really, like, what is the next step for this? Where is there sort of a, how do you kind of like adjudicate this beyond just in a public forum like Twitter, for instance?
And perhaps it's unfortunate overall that like we might have sort of this simplification, but many companies, there's an abundance of professional wrestling talent and only so many spots. And if you're an AEW or WWE, unfortunately, because you have so much options and so many choices, like sometimes just having a person's name be attached to something like this is more than enough for somebody to say no. Again, I'm not saying whether or not it's right or wrong in this situation, but it is just an aspect of these stories, and one that I think we've yet to really solve and figure out as a society.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the extent of it. So we will see if there's any follow up, and we will update if I hear anything back from Game Changer Wrestling, because obviously he is booked for Saturday night. On Wednesday, we talked about COVID affecting both Kazuki Fujita and Hangman Page, and we have another round of COVID positives, this time focusing on New Japan Pro Wrestling, which in terms of one significant match that is altered, that coming with a positive test for Will Ospreay, but also Tatsumi Fujinami, who was scheduled for a 6-man tag on the card on Sunday at the Fukuoka PayPay Dome. With Will Ospreay, he was scheduled for a singles match against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the vacant IWGP US title. So that is a very significant match that is altered for Sunday, where Tanahashi will now take on Tomohiro Ishii for the vacant title, while Fujinami will be replaced by a mystery partner teaming with Shingo Takagi and Bushi against Zack Sabre Jr., Taka Michinoku, and Taichi. So in the case of Fujinami, obviously an older individual, so you want to be obviously probably a bit more concerned when it comes to COVID. But nonetheless, this is, COVID is still, a predominant factor. And, when we're kind of just in the bubble of pro wrestling, like you are seeing this week, like some significant changes to cards, like Noah lost its main event for Saturday for a very big show for them, and a pretty major match for New Japan on Sunday, not to mention like Hangman Page altering plans this week for AEW.
Yeah, it feels like we kind of went through a bit of a stretch there where, like, we didn't really have such maybe high-profile cases where, like, title matches and main events were being called off, but
or not being disclosed. I mean, on companies that are not going to make it as public as kind of New Japan or Noah are going to be, or people like themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but it's something we're continuing to get used to.
So that's the update for Sunday, and we'll spend some time tomorrow going over some of the weekend cards. But there's a lot coming up in the next couple of days. 01 has announced a benefit show that they are going to host on June the 4th at Oda Ward City Gymnasium to raise funds to help Shinjiro Otani, who suffered a cervical cord injury back on April the 10th and then underwent surgery several days later. They are going to have participation on this show from New Japan. Noah is going to send representatives, Freedoms as well. So multiple companies that will be coming together for this benefit show. That's, the injury is devastating enough, but then you're talking about exorbitant costs too when it comes to somebody in that situation and a family to take care of on top of it. So I hope this show does very well to raise funds for Otani and his family.
Yeah, I also wanted to point out, thanks to Dan, a listener of ours, who pointed out that there is a fundraising website that the Otani family has put out there as well, in case people on even this side of the world wanted to contribute. It is simply found at otanishinjiro.com. There's an English translation here with a bit of a story, as well as a bit of a biography of who the man is, of course. And here's the fundraising button as well if you wish to contribute.
Fantastic. That's great to pass that along. Some people have been asking on Wednesday's Rewind to Dynamite about the status of Miro. So just to go over, there had been some reporting about that he had been dealing with a hamstring injury over the past few months. But then he had noted that he has been, this was about a couple weeks back maybe a month ago, he noted that he had been living in Brooklyn shooting a pilot, which Fightful has reported is a pilot for CBS. So it looks like that's been a factor in all of this. He had lost the TNT title to Guevara at the end of September and then was out in October and brought back as a replacement, if you remember, for Jon Moxley in the title eliminator tournament, doing the matches with Orange Cassidy and Bryan Danielson. So I guess it's to be determined when he will be back. On another AEW note is that coming up in June, here in Toronto, no less, there will be something called the Collision Conference. This sounds like a bunch of wrestling companies coming together for some kind of debate, but it is this is a pretty big conference involving major names across the gamut of business and entertainment and sports, and it's notable just because of some of the speakers. AEW President Tony Khan will be speaking at this. There's over 400 speakers that will be part of this. Others involved include Perkins Miller, who used to be the EVP of digital media for WWE, and he's now with Fandom. Rajan Mehta, who is the VP and Chief Product and Technology Officer at WWE. They'll also have Clarissa Shields, who the former boxer and now fighting with PFL. Chris Cyborg is going to speak at this. John Tory, the mayor of Toronto. But the big one, Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren Racing, is also going to be speaking at this conference, June 20th to 23rd in Toronto.
That is correct. Yeah, that's unfortunately, like I said, Tony Khan. That's certainly the one that stood out to me. Yes, of course, the head of McLaren Racing.
I mean, if this was Gunther Steiner, I think I would be I would be there too. This is not a cheap ticket to go attend this. I have been looking at potential media opportunities for us, but we will see. If you could sit down with one person here, is it Zach Brown or would you?
It as interesting as Zach Brown might be, and I'd love to hear about maybe their strategy this year with Lando and Daniel Ricciardo. I'd probably pick Tony Khan. He's he's somebody who I haven't necessarily heard speak at length. Maybe speaking about AEW to a non-wrestling audience, perhaps. So this will be really interesting to see what sort of slant his presentation and his is it a presentation or an interview? What are we talking about?
It's like a speech, like you're delivering a speech. It sounds like there's going to be just each day, just multitude of speeches going on, and it's sort of like a networking event. It's also there's exhibitor space on top of it. I would honestly, if I'm looking at this of someone I would love to interview, I would look at someone like Perkins Miller. Number one, because of his former job title, but also because he's no longer with WWE. So I think you would get maybe some more insight than if he was still in WWE in kind of an EVP role. So anyway,
it would be very interesting. Yeah, I mean, so you have to obviously be there to hear these speeches, but do we know if they'll be broadcast anywhere in archive?
Not to my knowledge. I think this is a closed event in terms of broadcast. I'll look into that, but I didn't see any indication. This is to get into this. It sounds like it's
how much are we talking?
I think it comes with.
Holy! I just looked at the prices.
Yeah, you're looking at.
Holy shit!
So this comes with access to the exhibition floor, and then I don't know what all of this entails when you're going up to $9,500. I mean,
$672, $600 basically, including taxes. I mean,
yeah. I'll pick up 2 executive spots for you and I. We'll go in. Let's go for
only $20,000.
5 G's, whatever. We'll get downloadable file of contact list.
That's nice.
And an educational masterclass. So I'm down for it. Tonight on Impact, it is the fallout from Rebellion, and this is a pretty nice card that they have for their TV following the pay-per-view. Josh Alexander and Moose, they're doing a rematch of the pay-per-view, and that looks to be setting up Josh Alexander and Tomohiro Ishii for Under Siege, which will be their next Impact Plus special next weekend. The Briscoes are returning. Eddie Edwards will team with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of Honor No More, taking on Speedball Mike Bailey and the Motor City Machine Guns. That should be very good. Mm-hmm. And Tasha Steeles and Savannah Evans taking on Rosemary and Havoc. And we get Bhupinder Gujar and VSK. And before the Impact sees Vincent taking on Crazy Steve. That is taking place tonight on Access TV.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how they follow up with Rebellion and what they're building up to next time. These are all taped.
Yeah, they tape the TV on Sunday, so they're kind of their schedule now looks to be they'll do an event, tape TV the next day, and do 2 episodes, and like they've got a bunch of tapings scheduled over the next while because their next pay-per-view will be Nashville June 19th for Slammiversary.
Do you think we get any sort of publicity for the Dynamite appearances of Deonna Purrazzo and?
Yeah, after we were talking, I really feel that Deonna Purrazzo and Mercedes Martinez. Oh dear, I might have to go to audio here. Way I apologize.
I can hear you at least, so please continue.
Okay, but yes, I think that Deonna Purrazzo Mercedes Martinez match, it definitely needs some promos. I think even for your AEW audience that might not be aware of the whole interim championship, so maybe they'll do that on Rampage. I would think we get some mention of it on Impact tonight, but I think AEW really needs to hit that for people that maybe are not familiar of why do we have an interim title and what's the situation for next Wednesday's Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then quickly, to wrap up, on Friday, the Cinderella tournament wraps up with the semifinals and final from Oda Ward Gymnasium. In the first semifinal match, Mirai takes on Natsupoi, and then Koguma takes on Hazuki, and then the winners will face in the finals later in the show, and that's headlined by a World of Stardom title match with Shuri and Himeka. And Karen Peterson will join us to do a quick recap of the finals on tomorrow's news show. So you can look out for that, as well as her award-winning report that will be dropping on the site tomorrow. And Noah is going into Friday and Saturday, 2 nights at Sumo Hall, with Friday's show featuring Ada of Dragon Gate defending the GHC Junior Heavyweight title against Hayata, and Atsushi Kotoge and Yohei defending the Junior Heavyweight tag titles against Yoshinori Ogawa and Chris Ridgway. You've also got Ninja Mac on the card with Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane, and other Dragon Gate involvement on this show as well. So it's sort of like your junior heavyweight theme for Friday night, and Saturday show will feature the vacant title with Go Shiozaki and whoever he is facing to determine that champion among the matches. So that will be on Wrestle Universe, which will feature English commentary as well. And yeah, a super busy weekend when you throw in AAA is running their show. New Japan has a big dome show. PWG, for those that are in California, is running. UFC. There's PFL tonight. My God, it's just one show after the other.
And reports for almost all of those things up at postwrestling.com at some point this week.
Yes, correct. We will have Stardom covered by Karen Peterson. Mark Buckledy is going to be reviewing Saturday's Noah card and then Sunday's New Japan show on the site. Eric Marcotte on top of everything. MMA, Post Wrestling is your go-to place to go. It's where I may find a new battery.
And just a note from me for tonight, we've got the latest edition of MCU Later coming out with me, W.H. Park, and our man Neil Flanagan talking about Moon Knight Episode 5. It's a really crazy episode, so the analysis is going to be much required just for me, so hopefully Neil and WH can help me out. It was another really interesting episode. One last thing before we get out of here. Thank you so much, Chris Metz, for the super sticker.
Super sticker.
Yeah, I can't really see what the sticker is from my vantage point right now, but I
Munster Rugby.
Oh, Munster Rugby. Okay, great. Maybe that's what we should name Thursday as the Munster Rugby Super Sticker.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's it.
Well, that is it for us, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back way tonight on MCU Later, and then tomorrow at 1 Eastern. The Post Daily News Show coming your way. Rewind to SmackDown will be going up on our Patreon site on Saturday for Post Wrestling Cafe members with reviews of SmackDown and Rampage. We will not be live on Friday night, but look out for that. And also dropping today, new edition of Up Next with Braden and the returning Davey Portman and Bushby and Thompson's wrestling experience as they will go through the WWE Cruiserweight Classic from 2016. Andrew's on top of all the news today up at the site on postwrestling.com, so check that out as the man is constantly pushing out stories. So check out all of his fine work. And that is going to wrap it up for your Post Daily News Show.